Thanks for staying tuned on ADBN Television and watching live from Abuja Studio, the Market Report Show today. I am Adefolayan Olamilekun. As I earlier pointed out, today is about the new FX code that CBN has introduced. What does it really entail? What does it really mean? Can it really help us to reduce the devaluation challenges that Naira has been facing over the years? Muktar Mohammed is joining us right now. A very good day to you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. You know, I also need to quickly apologize. No, the way we quickly drag you on for this show this day, please, apology. Now,
no problem.
All right, let's go into the discussion. Nigerians are optimistic about CBN policy. Some of them are pessimistic about CBN policy. Just less than 30 days ago, there was what they call the electronic matching Bloomberg they introduced. Now, FX code has come. What is CBN doing around with all this policy framework they are bringing to the Nigerian economy?
Well, it's try and error.
That's serious.
Maybe what we get through, but I think everything is boiled down to trying to bring transparency and integrity into the FX market, which is good. But again, transparency and integrity will not bring liquidity. If transparency and integrity that does not bring liquidity to the market is an exercise in futility. What we are seeing in the exchange rate is not just because there is no corporate governance, it's not just because there's no sharing information, it's not just because there's no risk management, it's not because there's no execution, it's not just because there's no compliance and settlement. It's largely because there's no liquidity. So if all this process that the CBN is going through into the market, fantastic, then we should be excited about it. But if all this process will not drive liquidity into the market, we'll be back to where we've started, if not worse off than where we've started from.
No, what we are trying to say is that for you, it is all about liquidity. It's all about injecting. No, I'm coming, Mukta. It's all about injecting enough of this currency into the system. But we know how CBN has been playing the game. Sometimes they come with that intervention. Sometimes they come with another sledgehammer to slash, to hit everybody, and everybody fall in place. Now, liquidity is the main thing. Is that what CBN should be doing?
Look, Lekon, once there is liquidity, you can sledgehammer, and the operators will feel threatened because they know that they will be losing money. People will not patronize them.
It's true.
When there's no liquidity and you are stretching the hammer, what am I worried about? Because the market is not even liquid.
Exactly.
There's not even a market. So what I expect the CBN to do, if they are doing all this because they are going to drive liquidity into the market for corporate governance, then fantastic. The market is not suffering because of we are not sharing information. Like I said, the market is suffering because there's no liquidity in the FX market. So if you are going to help the market grow, if you want to address the instability in the exchange rate, then you have to drive in liquidity into the market. That's the only solution to the problem. Once liquidity comes into the market will definitely take shape, and then we'll be there to stabilize. Thank God we have experienced a corridor of stability between 1.5 in the official market and 1,600 in the parallel market. The difference is still there. But this policy is good. The code is good. But what is the value of a code without liquidity?
Serious.
We need to see this code come into place. We need to see this code drive liquidity into the market. Once that is done, any infringement will be dealt with. And I must let you know, this is not that this law has not been there in terms of monitoring, in terms of risk management, but it has not been implemented. So this is the first time it's coming and say, look, we must have to implement it. Nigeria is not the law of law, it's implementation. It's carrying out their responsibility to monitor all the institutions, all the bureau de change, all the banks that will be involved. You look at the CBN governor was saying yesterday that there has been an abuse of the FX market, whereby the chairman, the MD, even compliance officer give themselves FX at official rate, and in turn round tip that FX to the parallel market and sell at a high rate to the detriment of Nigerians. So if you know all that, the banks are sometimes penalized. But I don't think it's enough when you penalize the bank to pay some fine, and you know that it's just a drop of water in the ocean when you penalize the banks. So you need to prosecute. Once there's prosecution for economic sabotage, then people will begin to know that you don't have to do that. Then you pay for it.
Exactly. Now, talking about penalty, talking about punishing people for it. I heard the central bank governor saying there will be stiff penalty. He has also warned everybody. But he also said something about this code that is coming, that it is, I think it's something like it was taken from global FX code, now a copy of a copycat of a thing trying to be implemented in Nigeria. And I want to ask, is it just a copy and paste? Because if they don't pick the laws that punish and sanction people that was also on the global pedestal, how can we also ensure that we also implement this to the full? Because that's what many economists are asking right now.
Therefore, you've hit it. We've talked about the copy and paste method of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The fact that it works globally doesn't mean it will work here. Our environment are different. Globally, there's no bureau de change. There's no somebody telling you, come and take calculator in the streets. Somebody running after you to give you calculator. They know the fund. These are done strictly by financial institutions, unregistered institutions. They are not standing on the road. There's no one in Port Harcourt. There's one in Buja, or there's another one in Kaduna. They have a centralized one. You go to a global place, you go into the city, you want to change any currency, you go into the bank, and that exchange that. But it's not the same thing here. So in terms of bringing it there, fine, fantastic, but you must also begin to look at how do you now bring it to the reality of the Nigerian context. It's just like what we keep saying about the interest rate. You keep hiking rate, you keep reducing liquidity. That is not the challenge. The challenge of Nigeria is not supply gap. It's not that. The challenge of Nigeria is that availability, shortage. Then when you hike rates, smaller businesses are going to suffer because they are largely driven by liquidity. So the same thing with this FX thing. Yeah, it's global best practice. But how do you implement it to tally with our local content? Then you hit the nail. You said one very important thing. Persecution, not just trick finding. You find the bank and the people that are involved in it go scot-free. Let's begin to see how you find the bank and the staff or anybody found culpable are punished.
Now, the CBN governor is so confident about this FX code. There's something he said that I just pick it line by line. He said, this particular code will bring about transaction competitive pricing. Do you believe that will bring that to the floor?
It's very good. I keep saying it's going to bring that if there is liquidity, demand and supply. So no matter how much you put, unless he's telling us that when we bring in this code, CBN will drive liquidity into the market. That's the only way. The market is not suffering because of infringement. There have been infringement before, the market has been stable. The market is suffering because there's no liquidity. So no matter what he's trying to say, no matter what he tries to do, that will not help. If you are doing a policy and there's no liquidity, demand and supply, you have it, then that is when you begin to have competition on it.
Exactly.
Is he going to introduce the central, is the bank going to be involved? Is the bureau de change going? Remember, like you said, there's a capital base for bureau de change.
Exactly. And they're having challenges to meet up. Just 3 billion, 2 billion.
To meet up. So the same, look at it this way. Banks that you cannot monitor, and a lot of things are happening. How do you monitor the bureau de change? So, and most of the people that own this bureau de change are either politically exposed people or people that were maybe retired staff that were in CBN, still have some of their people there. So there's a lot of compromise going. I feel for Cardoso because I think he wants to make sure there is integrity, there is transparency. But he's dealing with a cabal that has been there for a very long time. So he needs to begin to look at structure. He needs to put up structure. That is why I say anybody found culpable, whether from the CBN side, whether from the banking side, whether from the bureau de change side, should not only be sanctioned but be punished, be persecuted. Remember of recent, before now, we've never heard of any EFCC prosecuting their staffs.
Exactly.
But since this point now, he's beginning to say, look, people who have to go to the table must come to the table with a clean hand.
Exactly.
So any staff, and they are not being prosecuted. And that is making them to sit up. So you don't just say, oh, pat them at the back, don't do it again, just pay a fine or we demote you. It doesn't work for the banks because FX is just one way of their means. So by the time you know that when you are called as a compliance officer, as the MD or as the head of a department, the bank will not only be sanctioned, the bank will be asked to hand you over to security agency. Then you will definitely sit up.
Now, another thing that the FX code is to achieve, according to the governor of CBN, is that it will help to track, maybe bring into book illegal transaction on the FX market, particularly money laundering and the rest of them. Will this also be achieved with this policy? Do you see it coming up?
I agree with that.
All right. Go ahead.
I totally agree. I agree with that. I agree. But again, like I said, it all depends on how effective the policy is. You will not totally eliminate illicit fund, but again, you will be able to reduce it. As it stands today, we don't know what is amount of even FX in circulation, but we are even going too far. FX is not under our control.
Exactly.
Even our own currency, we don't even know exactly how much is in circulation because of the US dollar.
Exactly.
So we yes, that will do. I totally agree, because again, if you have to pass through those processes, like I said, that also depends on implementation and monitoring. Because if you have when you'll be able to monitor that, is in that code that it says sharing information. So how many of these bureau de change and the banks will share this information? That is where the key is. So I agree with it, but also it's not so much depending on the CBN alone. It's also depending on other financial institutions that will be involved in the FX processes.
Now this now take me to the issue that there was this $7 billion backlog, and CBN governor is saying it will be cleared. Whether it has been cleared, I just saw a report before I came on air that it has been cleared, but I would still do verification on that. But based on this backlog issue, one of the 6 cardinal principles of this particular FX code is that settlement processes will be done timely. Do you think this can be achieved with this FX policy?
Lekon, if that is done, it's going to help smaller businesses, SMEs. That is why the SMEs prefer to go to the bureau de change, because of the timely transaction. The transaction time. Because remember that we used to have M from M.
And from Q.
Now you are in the queue, but when you go to the bridge, you don't have to be in queue.
At all.
So if that happens, that itself is a game changer. That means we have a lot of people coming through the official channel. And once there's an official channel, the CBN will be able to monitor. So I totally agree with that. That will help. But again, that also is depending on who the monitoring issue that I just mentioned about. So I totally agree with that. It will help. It will help, definitely.
Now, another issue raised as an achievement objective of this FX code is this. CBN is like trying to bring all participants to a table. But human nature, human character, the obsess for profit. Just like you rightly pointed out, bank chair, board of directors, they all are appointing or sharing all the effects that CBN is giving to them. This human nature has always come to question, particularly when we're analyzing some issues like this. Whether as an economist or as a political scientist or the rest of them. Do you see these people cooperating and collaborating with CBN? Because it is profit driven for them. It is not government policy to ensure that this thing works. For them, it's about profit. Do you see them coming together to fall in line with CBN agenda on this FX code?
It's possible. Like I said, it depends on what CBN is able to do, and then the law. You see, we have seen the FX code. I'm happy with it, but we are not seeing sanctions. What are the sanctions if there's infringement? If you are not doing sharing, if you are not doing risk management, if you are not doing compliance and settlement, what will be the sanction? So we need to back that. The CBN need to come out with stiffer sanction. That is one. That alone with that. Then secondly, they have to look at way to digitize the processes. And like I always say, if you look at the stock exchange, it is digitized. Even when you know who is buying what. You even know somebody that bought, even when they cross it, you know who is crossing, who the house that is crossing it, who is buying it, why they're buying it. So if we want to make it, we want to make sure there is transparency, and we want to make sure that people don't abuse that policy, then we need to digitize it so that at the comfort of my house as I am now, I can see who is buying, why they are buying, what are the transactions. So those are what this can only happen when we involve technology. So I agree with that, but we need to also bring in technology to make sure that infringements are not taking over the market. Then we are seeing rent tipping, we are seeing some people getting favorized. But once you digitize the processes, definitely you see a lot of transparency will come in there, integrity will come in there, and then people will trust the process. And a lot of people will want to pass their FX through that process, especially Nigeria in the diaspora.
Exactly.
Once they see that the process is transparent, once they see that, oh, my people will get the money they have to get at the time they have to get it, it will be a game changer. Even the Bureau de Change will be forced to comply because they want FX to come to them. So that's why I'm saying that all of this noise, all of this policy, if it does not bring liquidity, we are wasting our time.
And now let's not talk about that liquidity, because I have seen that you are so passionate about that liquidity. Although I have seen other of our colleagues, our economists, analysts also talk about this liquidity. What is really hindering this liquidity? Is it supply gap, or is it demand over demand gap that is causing this, deficit liquidity that we are having in the FX market?
It's both. There's a supply gap area, there's the demand. They work together.
Exactly.
Now look at the supply. Let's talk about the supply. In terms of supply, who are the major supplier of FX to the market? The CBN. Where do the CBN get their FX supply? From NNPC, who is the sole exporter of Nigerian crude. So, have we been able to export more crude to sell? You and I know the answer is no, because we've not been able to meet our OPEC quota for a very long time. So that means there's no enough liquidity in our reserve. That is one. Secondly, the other aspect that will earn liquidity into our reserve is through foreign direct investors. And you and I know that has reduced starting from Buhari. We are even getting a little bit improvement now, but from Buhari we went down 95%.
Exactly.
So definitely we need to attract more foreign investors to come in and bring in FX. That is not happening at the speed that we have boost liquidity in the market. So that's then thirdly, we have foreign portfolio investors. Foreign portfolio investors are those ones that come to get the hot money. And we have seen that work, but it has not been enough. You know, the Euro bond was oversubscribed, the dollar-dominated bond was. So those are for foreign portfolio investors. We have seen that. And again, I think, Nigeria in the diaspora, they are also a game changer. I remember some years ago, remittance from Nigeria in the diaspora was more than what we earn in sale of crude oil.
It's true.
That was helped to stabilize the exchange rate. So now, the CBN has come up with a game changer, but we have not seen the modality or how that will work, because they say they are going to come up with a product whereby Nigeria in the diaspora can be able to invest in that product, and then they will bring liquidity. We are waiting for that product to come.
It's true.
So now there's a challenge. The challenge is that how many Nigerians in the diaspora are legally there, especially if you are going to the United States of America.
Exactly.
You know that there's a change of guard there. There's a lot of challenges with immigration and everything. So that challenge will come also. So until we are able to address these four major areas of inflow, we'll continue to have that gap in terms of supply. Then demand is still very high. So and no foreign investor want to come to your market when there is no stability in your exchange rate.
True.
So a foreign investor want to come into your market at 1,500 and know that I'm exiting the market at 1,500 or even lower than coming to your market at 1,500 and I'm exiting it at a higher rate. And again, the two-way exchange system timely, because some of these foreign investors or foreign direct investors or portfolio investors borrow this money from their own country, and so they want it to be paid timely. So how timely is it for them to remit this fund to their? Those are part of the things that once you are able to address it, you will now begin to earn more liquidity in the system. So that is basically the challenge. There's a gap in supply, and there's also a huge a huge demand for the FX.
I so love it.
Nigeria is a dollarized economy.
Exactly, you are not far from the truth. Now, I really love the way you substantially pull this analysis, talking about the gap in supply as well as the demand, either it's over demand or whatever. Very fantastic. Now, we don't have much time again, but let's provide solutions. CBN need our support. That's why we bring this topic, so that analysts, experts like you can put a voice to it, educate Nigerians on what it's all about, then Nigerians will understand what this FX code is all about. Now, talking about the gap, because there are gaps in this particular FX code. A lot of our colleagues are already pointing out issues like, one of the gaps they quickly pointed out was that political consideration. You made mention of it. How is CBN going to ensure that political consideration will not kill this FX code implementation?
and the government is culpable.
You are very factual about that.
Even when we're struggling for FX, government were giving people official lower than the official rate to go for hash.
It's true.
So the government is culpable too. So we that must come to the table must come with a clean hand.
True.
So that's the challenge. No, for the CBN, I think they have their work cut out. Because for the support of Nigerians, the only way we can support the CBN, you must also see transparency and integrity on the part of the CBN. Then people will not believe in the policy, and then people will begin to say, look, we need to support this policy. So for me, the policy is good. The CBN has come out with a code. Remember that all these are administrative purposes. So what we should be doing at Nigeria is not even in the hands of the CBN. They need to improve in the area of security so that we can attract, we can be able to produce more crude, and they were able to earn more FX into the market. That is one. That is the way that this policy will see the light. Because I keep saying is liquidity. Secondly, the CBN must strive to maintain stability so that with stability, foreign investors, foreign portfolio investors will want to come. The CBN must, with a matter of urgency, come up with the product that they want for Nigeria and the diaspora, so that Nigeria and the diaspora will be able to send in FX to have that product. They will know that if I send my dollar, I'm going to earn a particular interest, and it's being controlled by the Central Bank of Nigeria. That gives them confidence. So those are ways that I think the CBN should go about. And as Nigerians, the only way Nigerians can help the CBN, when we see that they are making effort in all these 4 areas, and then somebody is trying, or one people are trying to sabotage the effort, then we are forced to report such people to the CBN, to the security agents, and when they are reported, they should be prosecuted.
Exactly.
That for me is what should be done.
It's fantastic from you, Muktar. I'm very excited. The way you have been able to pull this, discussion in a very precise way that I know many of our viewers will definitely enjoy what you have said and understand the FX code from that perspective that you have brought it onto this program today. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. My producer also appreciates you. Everybody appreciates you for timely intervening for us on this issue. Though we'll still call on you again. I've told you we'll be engaging you on a regular time on the show. Thank you so much, Muktar.
My pleasure always, Olamileko. Thank you for having me on your program.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day in Lagos.
You too. Yeah.